Okay everyone, so in this next lesson, let's just go and talk a little bit more about the image tag, the one that we use to embed the image that we have here on the right side of our website. And if we go to the tabs here that I've already opened up, we can see here in the documentation that the image tag will be allowing us to embed an image inside of our website. And if we try to go to the definition and usage, the image tag is used to embed an image in an HTML page. They are not technically inserted into a web page, and images are linked to web pages. The image tag creates a holding space for the reference image. We do have here the two attributes that are required for the image tag. One will be the source or SRC attribute and the alt attribute. So the source attribute will be specifying the path to the image, and the alt attribute will be specifying an alternate text for the image if the image for some reason cannot be displayed. There's also a note here that says that we should be specifying the width and height of an image, because if we did not specify the width and height, the page might flicker while the image loads. There's also a tip here that says that we can go and make an image into a link by placing it inside or in between the anchor element's opening and closing tags. Some of the other things that we can see here are some of the attributes that we can use, the value, the descriptions, but we will be focusing more on the alternate text here that specifies an alternate text for an image, and the source attribute that specifies the path to the image. And also, I want to go and show you here, just try to go and play around with some of your images, try to test things out, try to click on the try it yourself here, so at least you'll have some ideas on how you can go and maximize the use of the image tag. But for this session, I just want to go and look into how we can make it into a hyperlink. So we can see here an example from where the anchor tag here has a link to the w3schools.com, and it has the image element or the image tag inside the opening and the closing tag of the anchor element. So if we try to click on this, we can see here an example, and if we run it and if we try to go and hover on the image, you would see that the cursor or the pointer of the mouse is changed. So if we try to click on this, let's see where it will redirect. We can see that it redirected us to the link that is inside of the href of the anchor element, which is the website of the w3schools.com. Okay, I'm hoping you got the idea that we can actually make use of an image as a way for us to have links that will be redirecting us to an external web page or to a section within the page. So before we go and implement some of the things that we have seen here in the documentation, let's also go read through the image embed element documentation here. So we can see here that we have here the definition saying that the image element embeds an image into the document. It has the same explanation saying that the source attribute is required and contains the path to the image you want to embed. The alt attribute holds a text description of the image, which isn't mandatory but is incredibly useful for accessibility. We can see here that it says that screen readers read this description out to their users so they know what the image means. Alt text is also displayed on the page if the image cannot be loaded for some reason. For example, network errors, content blocking, or link rot. So there are many other attributes to achieve various purposes. So we will not be going through all of this, everyone, but I just wanted you to know that this is very useful if you're reading through the documentation. So I would suggest that you go look into the documentation here and here, as I've always reminded you, because as I've said before, sometimes there's some description here that is not included here, and sometimes there are some descriptions here that is not included here. So at least you'll get some ideas. Like for example, here we have supported image formats, and we even encounter the term link rot. Now, if we are asking what is link rot, this is another term, and for me to understand it, I will need to do research. And again, this is why I'm saying that being a researcher is going to be very useful for us to understand some of the documentation. So let's go and try to search here what is link rot. And you can see here that Wikipedia explains it that it is the phenomenon of hyperlinks tending over time to cease to point to their original targeted file, web page, or server due to that resource being relocated or becoming permanently unavailable. So again, that was able to help us out because we were able to encounter, we were able to know the term link rot. Now we need to understand it. Kura, now we need to remember it, and then we try to apply whatever we need to apply in our project based from what we have just recently learned. Okay everyone, so now let's go here and then try to turn this image into a link that we can use to go and link to one of our projects here that is inside of our HTML sections interactive content. So I would want to go and link it to our float property.html. Float property.html. Let's save that and let's go to our browser and then refresh. And now let's try to go and hover on it and let's see what will happen. You would see now that it redirected us to the float property exercise web page that we've created previously in our previous lessons. Okay, so now we have used an image element and turned it into a link. So that will be all for this lesson. So see you on our next lessons.